Travis Wayne Goodsill. As it turns out, I did wake up in time to go running this morning. I still want to crash. So it's not coronavirus. It's a pre-existing condition. So I did, however, get to watch the new little red-headed girl, Zoe, and her show today, well, last night, resurrected the notes for a video idea that I was going to maybe do today, but had tossed it into the pile, and so I dug it out of the pile. In the show, the boss decided to exploit the performance reviews, anonymous performance reviews, to each of the workers, and it devastated a number of the workers there, and caused some problems. There's trouble understanding what being critical is. My YouTube channel is fully designed now as LDS Critic, and so of course Mormons refuse to accept what that means, and I don't know about the confusion for others, but critical is one of those words that has been screwed up in our vocabulary. There's a rising group of people that think that you have to insult someone to be critical, and that counts as being critical, and it's not. That has nothing to do with the definition of critical. There's no such thing as negative or positive criticism either. That's opinion, not criticism. Criticism has to do with when you write a paper for school, the teacher grades you based upon English grammar, sentence structure, and flow of the position that you're writing about. Do you have a thesis statement? Does the paragraphs in the middle follow the thesis statement? And does the conclusion follow what you've written? The teacher's not supposed to say, well, I don't like this subject that you're writing about, I think you should have chose something else, or I don't like this particular topic, and so I hope you get the idea. And so critical is more fact-based, and so there are certain fields where you can't be critical, such as food critic. That's is an oxymoron. Movie critic, again, oxymoron, if I'm using the word right. And fashion critic. I notice there's a lot of women on YouTube who like to do videos on fashion and makeup. And YouTube is not very welcoming when they allow people to put thumbs down for such videos. My videos, for example, they're not They're not something that people are supposed to be allowed to abuse me with and claim that they're being critical and therefore it's justified. Freedom of speech has also been misunderstood in this concept, as people misunderstand what it means to be critical. And so people then think that, oh, well, critical speech is just free speech, and therefore I can insult people, or therefore I can lie, or I can abuse someone, or I can give my opinion and call it fact. No, you don't have that free speech. If you want to give your opinion on something, great, you can share. But you can't expect everybody to accept your opinion as truth, as fact. So, in regards to the church, as an LDS critic, I'm not giving my opinions. I'm using Mormon thought, Mormon doctrine, Mormon scriptures, Mormon theology. I'm using the playbook of Mormons to show Mormons that the current Mormonism is not Mormonism. It's something completely different. I'm using a standard, the standard being what was Mormonism under Joseph Smith. What Brigham Young did transformed Mormonism into something completely wrong, as they claim that they're following Joseph Smith and acknowledge him as the founder, when it's just all lies. And so it's inappropriate for people to cast judgment with thumbs down on my videos as a result. And it's great for those of you who put a thumbs up, but it's not needed. I'm not doing this for validation. I'm doing this as a critic, to warn, to help Mormons out of Mormonism, to help them see that the church that they're in is not just contrary to Joseph's organization, but it follows what we know in the theology as Lucifer's plan of happiness. Moses chapter 4 verse 1 to 4, taking away agency, compelling people to believe Mormon way, or they're anti-Mormon, they're apostate, they're evil. No, guys, stop it. That's abuse. And so what criticism is a sound argument. And if it's opinion, it's not sound, because everybody has their opinions. I like little redheaded girls. That doesn't mean that everybody else has to like little redheaded girls. In fact, quite the opposite. I want nobody else to like little redheaded girls so I can have them all to myself. But I hope you understand that when it comes to fashion, when it comes to movies, food, it's all just opinion. When it comes to government, people purposely polarize themselves so that if it's not your party, it's therefore wrong. When if you actually stepped out and said, okay, are we supposed to follow the Constitution? Is the Constitution the supreme law of the land, or isn't it? Is it my party that's supposed to rule the land with our platform, or do we battle it out with the other party's platform to see who wins? And as we all know now, the GOP has conquered America. It's now the GOP platform for life. The Democrats will never obtain any power ever again. They were granted the House in the midterms. I'm willing to bet they'll lose it. And it's not because there's not a majority who want it, but it's because the Republicans cheat. They don't play fair. And Democrats are all about, you're not playing fair, you need to play fair. And the Republicans just laugh them off and cheat. And I don't think Democrats understand that. And I can be critical and say the supreme law of the land is the Constitution. Not the GOP party, not the Democrat party, not any other party. Supreme law of the land is the Constitution, which means a constitutional republic. Not a socialist republic of party governments. Not a representative republic of tyrants and dictators. A constitutional republic that guarantees life, liberty, property to everyone. And so when it comes to Mormonism, the church claims that they're the only true church on the face of the earth. Well, I hate to tell them this. No, I don't. They're not. Because what is their basis for true? They're lying. So automatically they're not true if they're lying. So, yes, I would tell Zoe, the little redheaded girl, that she should have never recommended anonymous performance evaluations. Because people need to first learn how to be critical rather than insulting, lying, abusive, and opinionated. Because that has no place in a performance review. And if they were critical, they would be reviewing on a regular basis. Somebody submits a program in her company, I guess, is what they do. And you would review it by saying, okay, I found the bug here. When I try to do this, I can't get anywhere with this. How do we bypass this, or how do we fix it? That simple. It's not insulting to the person. It's just recognizing there's a flaw in the system that they programmed. If you write a paper for school, the teacher is critical by saying, okay, this grammar usage doesn't work. Stuff like that. You spelled this word wrong. It's not complicated to be critical. And nobody should feel insulted that they spelled something wrong. I remember back in grade school, there was a student peer who had struggled with vocabulary, with spelling, and constantly failed. But the teacher was a sweetheart, as her criticism was not just F because he spelled it wrong. She included her recognition that he was phonetically correct. I don't know how well that was received by the student, but well done to the teacher. So there's a big difference between real criticism and all the other nonsense that people think are criticism. So Mormons, understand I am a real LDS critic. The Mormon Church under Joseph Smith, had a lot of good stuff. There are some things that I would change, such as 8-year-old baptisms. Needs to be adults. But other than that, the doctrine of faith leading to fruit, I have to word it that way because people don't understand if I say works, they think action. I mean, I shocked my Elders Quorum president here. Shocked the whole Elders Quorum in the class once when I talked about how works has 2 definitions. One is an action verb and the other is a noun. And they're like, what? But maybe that's just because I took all elective art classes in high school. I didn't want to do school anymore. I was sick and tired of memorizing. So art was a refuge, sort of. So understand this, Mormons. So understand that when I've filed a lawsuit against the church and that the church is over and done with, that the lawyers have nothing but to submit paperwork for me to sign so that I get the church or I get a check or whatever, deposit or whatever is done. That you don't take it out on me because I was the victim by my own church. Because I was a translator and went to the church saying, hey, I deciphered Paleo-Hebrew, Joseph was right, on the right path. And instead they took that as insult, abuse, lying, opinion, and blacklisted me, and then eventually had me disappeared, and then paid the person that they had to disappear me. So, understand that, as today I'm expecting the lawyer's response today in the mail. I sent them a self-addressed stamped envelope with the waiver of summons. It's not complicated to fill it out and send it back to me. They can't ignore it because on the 30th of March at midnight they have to respond one way or another. If they choose to ignore it, I go in on Tuesday and have the clerk of the court put an entry of default that they've failed to respond to my case. And that would be the end of it. It goes right to the request for relief that I've asked for. So I expect them to do something. So they will have to acknowledge me. It wouldn't surprise me if the prophets flee the country and take their money with them. That would suck, because there are lots of Mormons and those who have left the Mormon church who've been ripped off and scammed by them and need compensation, just like those 8,000 Boy Scouts that got scammed by the church, and the church abandoned the Boy Scouts, leaving the Boy Scouts to take care of it, and without the funding from the church they declared bankruptcy, so those 8,000 got screwed. So I'll let you know after the mail comes today if it came. We'll open it together if it does and see if there's anything else. Like I mentioned in the other post that I hope was coherent. I had a dream, and in that dream I had gotten a response. The symbolism, if it's prophecy, prophetic dream, would indicate that they are conceding. But we'll see. It may just be a symbolic thing of what's on my mind. So we'll see. There was only one packet, which means today. I explained that in the other video.